right here. This kick is one that I use for a decent amount. Let me just pull it up real quick. Not that one. That one. Fucking fat. Okay. So here we are. Okay. There's a number of ways I make low end. But for all intents and purposes, I'm gonna teach you the same way I did same way I did last time we spoke, where I kind of just like use the same kick. I can use the EQ a little bit here. So one thing I want to point out, your low end needs to be in the same key as your kick. Okay, that's muy importante. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to find out the key of my kick by using notes. You can also use the EQ8, or I'm sorry, the fat filter as well to find the fundamental frequency. Hello.
I'm listening.
No. Sorry, no. I'm talking to Ableton, not you. You're good.
Is that Spectrum?
No. This is notes. So it's the same thing, except with notes, it just gets this information out instead of Spectrum. But you can do the same thing with Spectrum. So, all right. So this is G sharp. That's the thing of my kick. So now I'm going to make sure that this is also in G sharp as well. G sharp.
That makes it G sharp just like what kind of thing?
What's up?
That makes it G sharp just like.
Yeah, the note right here. You see that?
Yeah.
Boom.
No,
G
I
sharp.
get what you're doing, and I do that sometimes also. But I always we just transpose it to put it.
Well, keep in mind that when something gives off frequencies, right? When something gives off frequencies with the EQ, for instance, when you're cutting things from the EQ, notes give off different frequencies. So I want to make sure that the frequencies I'm working with for the low end match. This is just for low end specifically. I want to make sure that the low end matches my kick. That's all I'm doing. This is more of a meticulous thing. Would the average listener know this? No. The average listener on Spotify isn't going to give a shit. But these little things add up over time to make your track stand out more than the average Joe Schmo that's fucking just slapping shit on there, okay? And then for shits and giggles, I use Kickstart as my side chain. And then I set the audio here to kick. Okay, now here's the trick. Hold on, wait. What I 52 hard groove. I didn't name it, so I had to fucking find. There we go. Boom. Okay, so side chain. Cool. Okay, so check it out, man. This trick is called the -9 trick. A lot of people in the industry use this trick. I learned this from Test Press. They're kind of like a trance duo that's doing really well for themselves right now. Play Tomorrowland, all that shit. And also Lucati, who's a house guy, also does this trick. I come to find out. So check it out. I want to make sure this kick reaches -9. So I'm going to tab it over. Right now, my kick is at -22. I'm going to bring the volume up so I get to -9. Okay, now I'm at -5, so it's too loud. And I'm gonna keep tabbing back and forth until I get to -9, just like that. Because if you drag the volume down on this is the master fader, and it's not what I want to affect. I want to adjust the volume, but not the master fader. So a little bit higher. Boom. -9.08, close enough. I do the same thing for my low end. Whatever my low end sound is what I want to get to -9. So if you're making house music, your low end is more of the bouncier bass line, right? Or whatever the fuck you guys do. If it's a side trance track, it could be a rolling bass line. If it's a rumble, whatever low end you're using, that needs to be at -9, okay? So here I'm at -15. Bump it up.
You do this before processing or after processing?
I don't process shit anymore, man, because this fucking thing. Well, just saying, like, for the most part, as far as loudness goes. Now, remember, I do process some stuff if it's a creative decision, but in terms of loudness, this is what I do.
So what if we're gonna go
Nah, I don't do clippers kick unless I'm making hard like something hard and I want that desired texture. Yeah, that desired texture. Otherwise, no, I don't do that. The only thing I will do on kicks if I want to create a more full body kick already. Now this sample itself is pretty fucking staunchy and big, so I wouldn't do it to this sample. But let's say there's another kick that I want to try and increase the oomph, the zhuzh on it. I would use overdrive, and with overdrive, I would open up the signal all the way to affect everything. I would lower this to like anywhere between 18 to 30%, and then turn dynamics all the way off. Okay, and then
Why turn it on myself?
because when I bring dynamics up, it's affecting a lot in the high end. That's changing the character of the kick. So check this out here. Hold on, wait. So this is negative here. I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna duplicate it real quick. So I'm gonna bring the volume down here. So without it, or with it, sorry. So here. So without it, with it. Let me turn my volume up a little.
I can't tell if it just sounds good because it's actually.
I don't know, wait. Oh, that's why I had my fucking thing off real quick. Let me turn my L2 back on real quick. That's about to turn your volume down. It's about to get real loud. So, okay, cool. So without it, with it. You hear that punch coming in a lot more now?
Yeah, I noticed. I love it.
Yeah, without, with.
I guess if you were to use overdrive for some reason, would you would meter to 9 first or after overdrive?
No, with overdrive first. Overdrive first the desired taste or sample of the sound that you want, and then -9 it. So yeah, so then all together now, boom, without having to fucking do anything else. That kick is loud, proud, and in your face. Okay. And I do this with every fucking sample. Every fucking kick sample, regardless, I hit it at -9. So like with my kick right now, okay, I have a fucking same thing. I have this little like clubby trance kick. I have the sub frequency, and then I fucking put it together.
Could you command Z and bring back the other kicks real quick?
Oh yeah, sure.
So I have a question.
What's up?
There you go. So like I know you're sidechaining it, but like wouldn't there still, since you have like that's a big long kick?
Yes.
So wouldn't even the sidechain, wouldn't that like how would you go about sidechaining that? Like is the way you sidechain it enough for like cutting the low end?
Yeah. Wait, you're saying the way I sidechained the sub frequency?
Yeah, because like the kick obviously has low end. And so like is what you just did right there, would that be good enough?
Yeah. So here you can see this right here. This yellow thing is the kick sample, and we only want to sidechain around the body of the kick. So I would maybe do that, and now I'm good to go. No, because the reason what you want to sidechain is around the body of the kick. The tail of the kick is nothing. The tail of the kick is just the sound trailing off into the distance, you know.
So for instance, in my track, like if I did have a legitimate kick instead of a high pass kick, it wouldn't be an issue, like because I was telling you I wanted the longness of it, so that wouldn't be an issue if I had a not high pass thing.
No, yeah. So what I will say, the way you have your kick to low end set up right now is nothing is I guess competing with one another, because you kind of have like a really short kick, and then you have a really long like groove, something going on over here. You know what I mean? Yeah. But there's nothing poking out in the mix to make it really just like fucking hit you in the face,
Well, so I guess what I'm saying is you're saying is I could have a legit kick.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. You could have a legit kick, keep that same base. Just remember, whatever your side chaining needs to avoid. If this is your kick, for instance, you would need to avoid like this point right here. So this is where my side chain is side chaining it, and then this trails off, and fills up the rest. And that's kind of what I did with this particular track here. And then with with this particular track, what I did to fill it out even more was I threw in a little like side trancy, gimmicky little thing here to fill out the rest of that low end. So now it's so yeah. So because without the rolling bass, it was big enough, but I needed something just to fill out just a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Wait, do you think for like the next like 15 minutes, do you think you could just take me through the track?
This track right here.
Whatever you want to take me through. I just feel like I'm learning a lot just by like watching.
Yeah, no worries, dude. I got you.
I think we're doing a lot of cool stuff.
I will I will say this track is pretty close to what you're doing right now. But so how about this? Do you want something that's in the wheelhouse of like the typical shit, or do you want something that's a little bit more like more processed and wonky and weird?
Um, I'm kind of leaning more towards typical, but more so like if you had a track that you think there's a lot of cool stuff you can show me.
Yeah.
Also,
So I
whichever one is really different.
Sure. Here's what I'll do then. I'll show you both. I'll run through this one real quick because this one is good fundamentally because of the choices I made. But then I'll show you some wonky weird shit, okay? So, uh, okay, so like I said, with kick and bass, I'm gonna put you down real quick. If you end up not being able to hear me, just let me know. But with kick and bass, let me see if I can use one finger.
Oh, I can hear you fine. You don't have to hold the phone up unless it's for you this time.
Okay, cool. Actually, that it will help. It will help me out. Actually, well, I'm gonna do real quick is let me grab my AirPod real quick. Okay.
You're done. Oh, that's fine.
Yeah. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Okay, so let me, context, yeah. Yeah, dude, that's I open up for him in September. Yeah, dude. Yeah, he actually lives in Barcelona, where I'm at right now. But yeah, I open up for him. I go back to the States for September, October to play some shows, and I played direct for him in Orlando. So I'm yeah. Yeah, man. Context has been my fucking dream label for quite a long time now, but I'm at a point in my career where instead of aiming towards a particular uh, like label, you got to make things that you like, man, and eventually the labels will come. Yeah, man. Because if you keep making shit geared for a label, it stops you from making your shit. Anyways, we'll talk about philosophy later. So one thing I want to point out here is what I do. I do this with all of my kick bass relationships. Is on the actual kick itself, I take out like up to like 30, 33, something like that. Because I take out this part of the low end so that because this guy is going to have all the beef behind it, so they're not overlapping totally in low end. Okay. So that's something that I do with the kick and bass. And then for this particular track, I filled it out some more with this side trance sample that I've used over and over again. Kind of, yeah, exactly. Very easy concept there. It's just fucking mid-range shit, man. It's mid-range. I obviously use overdrive to add a little bit more zhuzh to it, and I have a slightly side chain because I wanted it to poke through, but not like so strict that it was like it sounded like a galloping horse, like bruh, bruh, bruh. I wanted some of that side trance stuff. Like I wanted some of this to trickle into it. So, okay. So that's that. So all together, like we heard before, we have this right here. Boom. Now we're chilling here. Okay. So for my hats, okay, something that I want to point out that I'm not not sure I went over it with you because I don't think I go over it with like beginner people when we were working together. Something that I do with a lot of my percussion now is I told you that your choices matter on what you where you put shit. Okay, so first thing that's important is when I'm creative. Let's talk about the creative process behind this right here. Um, this is something that's just supposed to be kind of glitchy and cool and floating around in the listener's ear when they're listening to fucking listening to it in their headphones. This isn't something that they're gonna hear in a concert or a club, you know. Um, I threw on a lot of wonky shit to make this fucking sound cool. I literally was looking through some presets with Ableton. I saw this Texas shit and I was like, this is kind of cool and weird. This makes it glitchy. Yeah, it's just a granulator, man. Um, yeah, actually, what you could even do with this, you could probably automate this ball to bounce around everywhere, and then it could really get wonky. So I use this to, yeah, like elephant random, yeah, something like that. So I have this wonky thing here, and then after that, I decided to take out some of the low end, take out some of the high end, because this, again, this is just ear candy. But the one thing I really wanted to point out here, okay, is there's two things that you need to, at your stage, you need to start doing in terms of when you're making choices for your percussion, okay? You need to make sure that one, they're not overlapping in main frequencies, and two, they're in the key of your track. Okay. So with what's up? Yeah. So with Fab Filter here, you have the option to do that. I think we've gone over that before, where you can have the stick option, and this is in A sharp, and then you would check to make sure that that's in key, and then you would also need to find out what piano roll down here. Click it on, and the, and and then now the next thing I want to find out is I want to find out the actual uh, frequency of the sound. This is peaking. Well, I don't care about this peak because I kind of cut it off, but we can keep that in mind. This is peaking at 7.3. Okay. The fundamental frequency, the highest point, exactly. And I'm gonna write that down. So I'll have a notepad and I'll say ear candy 7.3 yeah, blah blah blah. So if it's not in, so first things first, if it's not in key, adjust it to where it needs to be in key, and then after that, make sure that nothing competes with that frequency. Last thing here that I did is the phaser flanger. I just threw it on there to add a little bit more like laser sound. So without it, just kind of makes it bounce around a little bit more. What I started doing on things that isn't the kick and isn't my leads is a little standard clip, something not too crazy, just shaving off very tiny peaks. I make sure to keep it on hard clip, and I make sure to turn the oversampling to no oversampling. Uh, yeah, well, for this particular reason. So with soft clipping, remember it allows some of that to kind of peek through. With hard clipping, the reason I do it at the very, I only do this at the very end. When I'm done with everything, the track is good to me. I'm about to send it off to my mastering engineer. I only hard clip little peaks off of it, man. I'm talking like the most minute peaks. Um, that's what I shave off. Okay, cool. So let's move on here. Going into the hi-hat, it's the same shit, dude. I go through both things. I make sure that I'm in the right key. So you can use notes for that, or you can use Fab Filter. I make sure I'm in the right key. Okay. That's C. I mean, I already did this earlier, so that's already in the right key. And then fundamental frequencies. Correct. It has to be hitting a note that's in the scale of A minor. Correct. Okay, and then look here, you can see that the peak frequency is 9.4. The one before that was 7.3. I'm good to go. I'm moving on. Okay. Correct. Exactly. Yeah, because that's how we avoid an overlap of frequencies that create fucking bad resonance and bad shit. Um, so one thing to keep in mind, if you do have an overlap in frequencies, okay, you have three options. The first option I'm always going to recommend is find a new fucking sound. That's the first option. But if you're not going to do that, you have two options. Okay, you can dip one. Okay, you can like dip the where the frequency is happening and do like a bell curve and kind of dip a little bit. So that way, you know, the least important sound, you would dip that one. Or you can change the pattern. Okay, so if this one was in 9.3 and this one's in 9.3 and they hit at different times, they're not intersecting with each other. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. So I'm moving on here, okay? Yeah, you can. Yeah, exactly. You can totally do that to add a groove. So I wanted to point that out that so that way I don't go through each individual hat sample. This is what I did for all of my percussion. Yeah, everything in the high end here, everything in key needs to be in key, but for high end, I make sure that one, they're in key, and two, they don't overlap in frequencies. That way you avoid clashing. And it's just that one fundamental frequency. Now, moving on, okay? Moving on here, I do the typical shit that we hear in techno is a little perk, a little one hit, two hit, a call and a response. Very important here. Okay, so call, response. So dump ba ba, dump ba ba, something like that to kind of get the groove going, and then I threw bongos in there, and that's all I have in my mids for the most part. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, boom. And there's nothing crazy here. I do the same shit over here. I added some overdrive for zhuzh, a little standard clip. This is free. Did we go over this in our classes wider? No worries. If you ever want a sound wider in general, this is the fucking one, man. Super powerful. And I even threw phaser and flanger on this one here too, in order to add more of that glitchy texture to it. And then say it again. Because I think wider adds a lot less distortion, or not distortion, but like when I use utility and I use the wide stereo option or whatever the fuck you want to use, I feel like it just adds a lot of like shit that doesn't sound good to me. It makes it too artificial almost. Yeah, it's just like because I've tried using utility before, but for me, this app here or this fucking VST from Polyverse is a lot more just intuitive for me to like work with that, you know? And also what I like with this too is you can also low bypass stuff too as well. I know you could probably do that with utility, but for me personally, I prefer wider because it's easier to use and yeah, that's just me though. But again, yeah, so that's really what I want to point out from this particular track is when I mentioned that fundamentally it's good, um, it's because I chose sounds that don't overlap. In terms of the actual leads themselves, I try and keep it very simple. Actually, this track is one of the more complicated ones I've made in a long time. I actually aim to make it as stripped and bare bones as possible now when I make my productions. Like if I do anything more than 30 tracks, it's pretty rare for me now, or more than 30 channels, I mean. But something I want to point out is the buildup. Okay, let me do this right here. Let me come in here. So let's go like we'll listen from like right here. wanted to point out here and why I wanted to show you this buildup before going back into your track is, remember, in order for us to have loud, we must have quiet. In order for us to have quiet, we must have loud. In order to create a really big impact, right, that really just like takes that crowd and whoa, what the fuck, is leading up to your fake out drops. I know you kind of had like a fake out drop with some hard style kicks. Um, Leading up to that point, you want to have some slight automation on some of these elements to quiet them down a bit. Okay, so something that I did here, leading up to that drop, is this trance lead right here starts to automate, filter out a little bit. It starts to filter out a little bit and it gets quieter. And I did the same thing with some of these build elements here too. This glitch kind of fades down a little bit. A lot of things start to fade down a little bit. So that's something that I want to encourage you to do with your choices as well in your production. Okay. That's something that you need to do at your stage of the game, not something that the mixing or mastering engineer can do for you. Okay. If everything is loud, then nothing is loud. So the best impacts for big drops, especially near the end of like near that hard style kicky part of your track, is the best thing you can do is to try and quiet some of those elements. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's kind of what we got going on here with this track. Is there anything specific you wanted to look over before going back to yours? Cool. Okay. So let's stop sharing here. And then what I want to do is we'll go back to yours. And now what we need to do, well, how about this? What I want you to do in your time is you can find the fucking kick and figure that out, because that's something that I know you can do on your own. What we can do now is we can look through each percussive element and figure out what's not working. Yeah. Yeah, the textures are fine because the textures are kind of like a one-off thing. They're not constantly like going, you know what I mean? And they're so quiet that it doesn't necessarily bother me. Here, while you share your screen, let me grab my phone charger real quick. But yeah, the textures are kind of like a one-off thing. Do you have your screen pulled up or not yet? Oh. No, I can't. Oh, yeah, no, I can't see it. There we go. Okay, cool. Let me. I can hear. Hold on, wait one second. Can you press play on something? Nor. Cool. All right, so let's just go through your percussion and figure out what's going on here. Also, I forgot. I will say too, I think your clap is working against you, man. Yeah, I think that clap was awful. There's there was I was trying to find a nice way to say that. It was very squishy. That's the best way I could point it out, you know? Uh, like it was very like type sound. And like there's one thing to make like a snappy clap, but for some reason that clap was just really poking out. And it might be a volume thing, and maybe it needs to come, which might be a mixed thing. But I think creatively there could be a clap that gets that track moving a little bit further along, you know? Because you have an off clap and a main clap. Oh, that's why I was making like a whipping sound. Can you solo just that section and let me hear it? Hmm. Okay. So which one? So it looks like that one is going good. So good, good. Can you solo just the top two for me? Okay. So I think that it doing da 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 the entire time is what's throwing me off. Um, so when you did the off clap to clap combo, was that just to add a little like nuance to it, or can you want me? So here's what I think you should do then. I think because it sounds cool, I think it should happen like every 16 or 32 instead of every time, you know? No. Like you can have like so it hits once every 16 or every 32. So like you have like the so like yeah, you could do it at the end or yeah, you could do it at the beginning or at the I would say at the beginning of every phrase so you can keep that guy and get rid of the other guy. Yeah, something like that. Or like yeah, or like you could do it yeah, at the beginning you could do it at the beginning or at the end of every 16 to 32 to kind of give a little more groove, you know? But I think it happening all the time was just fucking it was rough, man. Um so that's something that you can do creatively, I think, to try and clean it up a little bit because you got a lot of high end shit happening anyway. So this is one less item that you can still keep because you think it's cool, but it's not always in the fucking way, you know? Yeah, it's kind of like having a double clap, you know? You don't have the claps double clapping like all the fucking time, you know? So you can do that. If you want to knock that out now, you can. Otherwise, write it down in your notebook and then you can do that on your own time, you know? But anyways, so we got that going on. Um, okay, so that's done. That's cool. Let's move on and let's look through your what's the you have the snare hitting as well. So we got to see hmm. And then what's this here? You have fill as well. The fill is fine. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think if you did it like that, that would be cool. I think everything's kind of chill for the most part. Let me look at your high end first, and then we'll figure that out. So let's solve the high end, then we'll go back to what we were just listing. Say that again. Yeah, the high end, the pink guys. Yeah. So solo the pink now, and this is what we need to figure out, especially from 217 to 225. So let's lessen the loop a little bit here. You can move the left side over to 217. Nope, other way. I want the ride in there too. Yeah, there you go. All right. So one by one, that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna check out to see uh what key it's in, and then you're also gonna find out what frequency it's in. Um and then I will say also creatively that LFO is probably a little too crazy for the listener's ears. I would lessen the depth of that as well. But that's we'll move on after doing this. Yeah, I would do ever so slight depth. Something crazy like that for percussion might be a little much. Yeah, something like that. That's fine. Say that again. Sorry, moving further away from the phone. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, but I'm saying like have you listened to it in headphones yet? What did it sound like to you? No, hey, if this sounds good to you, I won't take that away from you. You can increase the depth if you want. Historically speaking, on my end, I feel like it was a little too much for the listeners, but again, we all create differently. So if Tyler Blanchard fucks with it, then by all means, I want you to fuck with it. If it was something super out there, I would say don't do it, but I don't have headphones on right now, so I can't make that call. Uh, cool. All right, so let's find out the range. Let's find out the peak. Right now it's an C sharp. Uh, actually, sorry, you're kind of breaking up on me here. You might speak closer to the phone? Yeah, yeah, no, it's definitely dope. Uh, so depends on what you so depends on what you want to keep. I would say it's F sharp right there because you're yeah, well, yeah, because F minor, F sharp is yeah, so you need to transpose that one to make sure that it's in F or the one above F, whichever one. So you would have to, yeah, transpose that some bitch. See, I think it's down one, yeah, for F. Then now try it again. Press play. There you go. You're good. Cool. And now find out the frequency. Have a pen and paper handy, or I can write it down for you. 2.9. I gotcha. 2.9. Okay. And then now we got to go to the next one, the high range shaker. And make sure to double click on, okay, this is the shaker channel. Double click on the shaker channel to make sure that we're on the right one. And then, yeah, we need a fat filter on there. Yeah, exactly. You get the point. You can close out of one of them so that way your CPU doesn't overload. All right, guy. So right here, we got 7.1, and then find out the key. A. I think I don't know if A is in F minor. I think you'll have to check that. You're in C major for the scale right now. You need to change it to F minor. Yeah. Nah. Yep. Probably up one. Yeah. So, so did you bump it up one? All right, press. Let's see if it's fixed. Go ahead and press play. Let's just double check. You always want to double check your work. It's an A, yeah, A sharp. So you're good. I think you're good. Yeah, you're good. Okay, cool. All right, cool. Now, one thing I wanted to point out though is your other sound on top of that also had a high point at 7.1. This one it has a high point of 7.3. So what I would recommend if you want to keep both these sounds is you take out some of the high end of the mid-range shaker on the top. So yeah. Yeah, like that much is good. There you go. Cool. So that way it makes some room for the other shaker to come through. You know what I mean? All right, cool. All right, cool. Let's move on. Click out of those, and then we gotta go to the rides. Yeah, with the rides, yeah, because they're both high-end sounds. Um, Let me listen to middle ride first, see what you mean by middle ride. Solo it real quick and play it. And then solo the other one. Hmm. All right. Yeah, no worries. I think because they're both high ride elements, I'm worried that both of them together might be too much. So that's just something to think about because there's such a powerful element. So whatever ride, yeah. So well, what I would do is you can keep both of them, but I would EQ it in a way to where one handles like the high end and one handles a little bit not so high end, you know? That seems to be higher. So for the so actually no. Damn, that's tough. They're both pretty high. What I would do is for the middle ride, since that's what you're focusing on anyway. Actually, no, hold on, but this one's panning. Hmm. Okay, then here's what we're gonna do then. I'm gonna show you to do. So throw a fab filter on the panning one. And then what I want you to do is I want you to do middle. We're gonna take out the mids on that. So go to put that at like fucking 8K or something. Mid. We're taking out the mids. Put that at like 8K or somewhere in the high end. Uh-huh. Yeah. No, I only worry about that for fucking kicking bass. For this one, it's fine. So there, and then you can just dip it down like -3, -5, something like that. Yeah, something like that. Make it dynamic. So drop the arrow down, make dynamic. That should be good to try and clear up some of that high end. Um, no, you can have both. Because we want to take it out. So if you did it that way, that's saying that you're allowing it to get up to a certain point, but yeah, keep it that way. That's fine. So that's cool. Click out of that. And then okay, cool. Now we're gonna do the same thing. Check frequencies and check key to make sure that they're chilling. That was in G or no? C? Okay, yeah. C. Okay, chilling. And then let's check the frequency. I don't think anything should be competing with that because it's a really high end ride. 8.6. Good to go. Okay. I see what you're saying. I normally will say anything within like 0.5, I would do something to fix that. So if one's at 7 and one's at 7.5, I'd be like, I'll move some stuff around, you know? Yeah. Okay. And then let's check out the next one. Same shit. They to drop that. I would go down because we already have a high end ride anyway. and then just double check. And then keep in mind too, whatever samples you're changing with the pitch, you're gonna have to fix the rest of your track the same way. You have to copy and paste it. Yeah. Oh, are you labeling it just to like go back to it? Cool. That makes sense. Smart. And then yeah, go from there. Uh, well, double check to make sure that um that it's still in the, and then restart. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's A flat and F flat. Yeah, you're good. That's good. And then frequency wise, we already dipped it, so that should solve that problem. Okay, cool. And then the last but not least, we have this perk loop here that plays throughout the track. What's that? What's that doing? Um, what's same thing? Check that. Check the key and check the frequency on all your percussive elements. Check the key first. Sharp. C is your key, right? Oh, C is what's in key. I mean, wait, no, I go back real quick. Sorry, go back to the scale. C. I go. Oh no, you're good. C sharp isn't key. You're good. Well, yeah. Well, C sharp is also D flat, but because you're working in F minor, there's no C sharp. It's just you're good. Is what I'm saying. You're in key. All right, cool. So, yeah. So all of these are fine as far as that's concerned now that you've got them in key. The next thing we need to work on is your stabs in general. Way too much reverb. I'd start cutting some of that shit. Is endless smile being used to give it more white noise, or is it used as a build element? What is the endless? Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I would, whatever has reverb in this track, I would tail it back like 30%. For automation, you would need to go to the dumbbells. We're under set. You see set? Yeah, what are you fucking? Yeah, it's supposed to be Command A to pull up the automation window for Windows users. Is it doing anything? It looks like it's automated though. I just don't see it. I don't see him moving. Hmm. No, there he is. He's well, but there's also an endless smile on your bust too, so you're doubling up the endless smile. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, dude. It's mad OD. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool. Okay. Yeah, you can get rid of it for the buses. Um, so something that you should start doing is to make your reverb cleaner is to parallel process your reverbs and your effects. Are you aware of that terminology or what that is? Nah, here. So yeah, so that's one thing you can do, right? You can group it, and basically what you have is an original sample and then the FX sample. Does that make sense? So what so here, so there's a couple things you can do. One, you can use send and returns, but if you're not a send and return type of guy, that's totally fine. What you can do here is okay, let's use stab one for instance. Can you loop me a section where stab one is just kind of like playing by itself or like playing? Uh, okay, cool. So pause it real quick. So what I want you to do is go to the audio channel of stab one. I want you to group the reverb and the delay together. So highlight them both and press Command or Control G for you. I think because you're a fucking Windows guy. If you hold, I don't know. Oh, your endless smile came back. No worries. Um, all right. So, all right. If it doesn't work, man, does it work now or no? So if you hold shift, you should be able to select both. Yeah. No, and then you press control, you can press command G to group them together. There you go. All right, cool. Now, no worries. And then click the lines, the three lines on the left. And then from there, I want you to create new chain. So right click, create new chain. Cool. So now what we have here is we have one chain that has the original sample as it was made, and the other one has the effects. Now turn the reverb delay, turn that all the way down, just zero, like negative. Yeah. So now what you can do is you can tastefully add it back in without it going too fucking crazy. Oh, you deleted it. There we go. So now you do. What's up, brother? Where was that on the bus? Yeah, no worries. Oh yeah, Portal is cool. Leave Portal on. Do you say that again? Okay, yeah, 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 yeah. So if you want to turn that off, then add that back in later. Sure, totally. And then what is it doing without it? It's here. Where is that? Where is that delay effect coming from if your effects are off? Yeah. Oh, okay. So never mind. No, you're good. Okay, cool. So I would add. Okay, yeah, I would add the reverb and delay. Maybe let's try like negative 20 and then kind of go from there. Okay, cool. So something I would do too, let me look at your settings right here. I would lower the feedback on your delay, like on your delay a little bit. Um, yeah, I would lower that, and then I would lower the decay of your reverb slightly as well too. The decay, yeah, they just like a little. Okay, cool. Let's listen to that. Hmm. What's up? Yeah, you can if you want. I was listening to how long it was taking for the tail to kind of like tail off. Yeah, the last thing I would do, the no. I was just making sure that it wasn't too like it wasn't too much. Your reverb and delay tails, you know? Sorry, man. You got to speak closer to the phone, brother. My bad. You're asking me if we should sidechain the FX? Yep. No, that's fine. No, you would be okay. Whatever sidechain you decide to use, I don't know what you use for your sidechain. You could just route it to the kick. So that way, whenever a kick is coming in, it will only duck if a kick is hitting, you know? Is that what you're asking? Are, are you worried? Are you worried that it's not gonna like you're like I'm trying to figure out what you're worried about. So that I see what you're saying. No, yeah, okay, so I see what you're saying. You could do that. I'm not worried about that. I was making sure that it just wasn't too much in general, like from taste. You know what I mean? Yeah, but yeah, if you I mean that's some like real meticulous stuff. I wouldn't say don't do that. If you really wanted to make sure like sounds didn't enter, I would say do that if it was interfering with a different sound than what you're doing now. But since it's all the same fucking sample, I wouldn't worry about it. Yeah. If you had like a white noise and then another noise that was like a totally different tone, you could potentially consider that. Yeah. I see your question now. Okay. Um, okay, so that's fine and dandy, that white noise. I would also say you could EQ some of the high end out of your white noise as well too, but I would do another EQ after the reverb and the delay. Yep. And then just drag that after. And I would take away like fucking yeah, you can leave the no, you can leave the endless smile there too. Okay. And then I would take away like fuck man, at least 10K, maybe even 8 if possible. But I want if it affects your sound too much. Say that again. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, I can't hear shit. Yeah, no worries. Well, I mean, it sounds good for what you're trying to make. As far as like the white noise is not too overpowering. So that definitely is cleared up a little bit here. Let's move on. What else? What other shit you got going on here? You got a screech of some kind. Yeah, I mean, at a minimum, that's what I would do to save time at a minimum, man. Yeah, is to fucking copy that because that was the main oopsie that I heard out of what you showed me was that fucking that just there's so much shit going on in the stereo space that it was hard to make out anything else, like everything it was in the high end. So I would consider uh thinking about your EQ decisions too, to making sure that like not everything is. So something that I want to point out too, something I want to point out too is you have a lot of sounds that are chilling in between like five and or like 8 and like 15K, I would encourage you to think about some of the sounds you're choosing to try and like fill out the space a little bit more in the mid range and all that other stuff as far as your leads are concerned. Your vocal might fill out some of that middle stuff, but try not to have too many sounds all chilling in the same space. So remember, there's 3 ways to avoid that, and we already learned that with the percussion. Either they don't play at the same times, one sound is ducked if they are competing at the same time, or change the sound altogether. Those are your 3 options when it comes to competing frequencies and competing sounds. A good old screech. You can open that one up a little bit more. Yeah. Yeah, that one's fine. And then this guy here, yeah, he needs to be cleaned up a little bit. But yeah, so think about that when you're working with reverb and delay now is I would start doing reverbs in this particular fashion for your lead. So that way not and I would say that sound in particular should have a really short reverb and delay tail. I would lower it to like maybe 30% for that, or -30 for that guy. Yeah, it's kind of like the Lord of the Rings, like only one person can have the ring at one time. Not everyone can have the ring. So if everything is washed out with reverb, the entire track gets washed out. Yeah, that's okay. I don't a big white noise. Yeah, that's fine. If that one's big white noise and stuff like that, that's fine. I would suggest leading up to that break though to take away the kick for at least like a 4 count to let the listener know that something's coming. Yeah, yeah, like the last four kicks at a minimum. And I would also take out some percussion as well too. So right there, yeah, and then take away some percussion. Yeah, yeah. If you want to roll with that, you can. Trying to think here. I mean, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you can leave it like that for right now. Something that I would consider though. Do you have any hi hats at all? Yeah, because I noticed that you only have like those middle guys right there, but there's no actual like 909 or any sort of like off hat to kind of add that groove, you know? Yeah, yeah. I so sorry, say that the last part again. I can't hear you. Yeah, so something that um because what I'm noticing. So that's why it sounded fucking okay. Yeah, that all makes sense now. Yeah, that off clap is where the off hat would be. Yeah, that's why it sounded too repetitive. Because I was like, man, I would, man, for techno, dude, you got to have an off hat. I would definitely. Yeah, I mean, so that's creative, right? So I would say this: if you're just trying to add like evolution to your track, you could always take the off hats out when the rides come in. Because the ride element takes a lot of that high end, and then your off hat with a 909 anyways is going to chill at about 7.3 to 7.5k, generally speaking. That all makes sense now. Yeah, yeah. So I would add an off hat. You can literally just search 909 closed hat or open hat, and both of those are pretty standard for techno. Um, Boom. Yeah, that's pretty standard. You can I would even tail off some of that tail a little bit. And like you can even make it shorter. Yeah, just fade it a little bit. Zoom in a little bit. Hold on, zoom in. Okay, cool. You don't have that weird fucking uh setting. Okay, cool. Yeah, cool. And then you would have to do the same shit that you always do with fucking, you gotta check the frequency, you gotta check the key, yada yada yada, all that other shit. So it's a breakdown, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's check out the breakdown. Do me a favor and then just play it from like that the break right before the break. Can we start a little bit earlier? Okay. So something I want to point out is your breakdown comes in suddenly. So what I would do is do the kick trick that I showed you with my track, where like you kind of have the kick hitting like on a one hit. So you would have the kick hit like on the actual break itself, like just one note, like one particular, like yeah, one note like that. So like boom, yep, and then boom, and then bring that top end in, and then bring the rumble in too. Have the rumble fill out the rest of that. Oh no, you don't need the white noise. Just the low end. Yeah, yeah, you don't need that shit. There you go. But let me hear it. Oh, what the fuck is that? What's up? Okay, cool. So now what I would do if I were you to kind of add a little bit more like build is I would have it how I would have like zoom out real quick. Okay, cool. It's like halfway through, I would start doing some sort of like I would have it hit again at like 177, all of those. Yeah, command C that or control, yeah, control command, whatever you want to call it. And then I would have it hit, yeah, halfway through that breakdown, just to add a little bit more of like a build element to it. And then I'd have it hit again at 181. Yep. Then again at 181, yeah, have the fucking thing hit again. And then as it gets closer, you'd be like, doom, 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 doom. You know what I mean? But then again, a lot of this will come more into fruition and make more sense if you have like a more full body kick that you'll end up figuring out and finding. Say that again, brother. Well, I think your problem is going to be figured out once you have a bigger kick. Because right now, like your impact has more ass than your kick does, you know. So I think you'll find the desired effect that you're looking for once you find a better kick. But you could put an impact there if you want as well. There's nothing wrong with that. Just tail it off a little bit too. Yeah, yeah, I would go one, two, one. Yeah, like one, two, three, four at a minimum. So like zoom out real quick. Yeah, command C that. Uh, so put another one at 186. The oh the oh okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you could do that. That might work. Yeah, that might work. And then no, that's fine right there. That might work. Let's hear the whole thing together. Yeah. Yeah, that works out fine. Nah. Let's hear the. Let me go back to the beginning of the like. Play it from 169. Yeah. Yeah, I'd have another one fill in between at like 170 or no 182. Yeah. What is that sound? Yeah, that needs to be tamed big time too. I would tame that and lower the volume of that. I would just tame it. Yeah, like as you approach the breakdown, lower it a little bit. Or is the endless smile it's the endless smile could just be working too much on one particular sound, you know? You doubled up on everything again. What the fuck is that? Oh, it's a pitch shifter. Yeah, that might be what it is. I think it's just yeah, I think you just need to I think you're just kind of ODing on a lot of your FX just to just pull back on it a little bit. I would even had it cut off a little earlier because oh no, yeah, no, that's good. No, that's good. No, yeah. Okay, I see how it cuts halfway before the kicks come in. Okay, that's fine. Um, your undercover buildup, that's fine too. Undercover, is that the vocal or something? Press play again. Let me hear it from there. Go ahead, press play. Okay, so the last thing, yeah, that's fine. The last thing I wanted to point out was the creepy doo doo part. What is that? Not that one. It's like a chord hit or something. Okay, first of all, so that one is the one that's OD as fuck. Stab one. That's the one that's going. Yeah, that one's like blah, blah, blah. Yeah, delete all that shit on that. It doesn't need any of that. And then delete endless smile. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's the one that's pissing me off. Okay, cool. And there's one that's like it's like you have like a creepy chord progression. Uh-uh. There's something where it's like doo, doo. Press play on it and let me hear it. Yeah. I kind of like that. But okay, so here's the thing. So I like that. The problem was for me is that it came in kind of random. If there was a way to sporadically incorporate that into your track before it hits the breakdown, it wouldn't seem so sudden of an element, you know? Yeah. Mm, I'd have it come in a little bit earlier, like maybe right at that drop before it, you know? No, no, no. Like Sirius's drop at 120. Actually, no, hon. Yeah, I'd have it come in at 116. You're right. Or not 160, sorry, 140, 145. I mean, sorry, my bad. Yeah. What's up? You can pull the fade back a little bit more. Pull it the other way. Yeah, like right there, maybe. I personally auto filter things in and out. I don't really fade clip things in and out, but you can do that totally. Yeah, just because I think it has a better sound than just fade clipping it. Oh my gosh, I do not want to go out tonight, bro. I'm so fucking tired. Yeah, that's better. So the last thing I'm gonna point out real quick before we're done for the day is go back to your screeches and shit. Zoom in on. Let me see the pattern of them. Yeah, they're hitting at different times. It just feels like it's just too much, you know. Um, I think they're both. I think what I would do is I would take away the middle stab of stab five. So every middle element, every middle hit, like in the three, I would take that away. Say it again. Stab five. It's labeled stab five. The middle, yeah, the middle one of stab five, I would take it out because that is, I think that's what's making it seem too crowded, personally. That might clear up, that might make it a little less chaotic. I mean, chaos is fine, you know, there's a brand for chaos, you know, but for me, it's like not, they're not, still not jiving really good. Yeah, I would do that. Mm-hmm. And take away that guy. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. See how there's a little bit more like room to breathe now? Uh, yeah, that is tremendously better. Yeah, okay, cool. Cool. Yeah. So then the last pointer I'm gonna give you is I want you to really take a step back and think about that breakdown, and make sure that you're not just throwing in a bunch of build elements for the sake of build elements. They all serve some sort of purpose. Because I would argue that you might have too many elements in that buildup, but I want you to pick what you like and don't like. You know, that's kind of your taste at that point. Do you have any other? Do you have like another question that I can help you out with? Anything else that you think you might need more knowledge on or more tips on? Yeah, yeah. If you ever want to do like a quick like hour session another time on like a track that I'm currently working on, so that we can kind of see my thought process behind things. Again, the way I teach, as you know, is just I do stuff to where it makes your life easier near the end of finishing the track, you know? Because the worst thing that you want to do is like come to the end of the track and then realize like, ah, fuck, like my kick sucks, or ah, fuck, these elements are competing. I gotta fit, you know what I mean? So that you watch all these tutorials and they say you just got to use your ears to pick the correct samples, and like that happens over time, but there are some things that we can do at the beginning as a beginner to see if you're picking the right samples or not, and that's what I showed you with like the whole key and frequency thing, you know. So, but yeah, man, so far so good. I mean, you've definitely come a long way. I'm eager to see how this track wraps up. So, yeah, big thing that you need to do: clean up that build up, take out shit that you don't actually need. In order to have quiet, you must have loud. So make sure to taper off some of those sounds as you approach the fake out drop, and then find a better kick. Find a kick that's full body that's gonna really get people going. The Graveyard Sounds has plenty of good samples. You should be able to find something in there that's going to be okay. Yeah. Sounds good. If you need any other help, like if you're working on the track throughout the week and you get a new render, you can always send it to me and I can always listen to it when I have time and give you some pointers. Okay. Yeah, I'm good on Sundays. I prefer Saturdays. Do you work on Saturday? Yeah, no sweat. If for any reason Saturdays don't work for you, I can do Sundays. This is just the one-off fucking Sunday that I'm going out tonight. That's why I'm bitching about it. But normally on Sundays I'm okay. But if you can do Saturdays, I would prefer that. But if not, Sundays are fine. Sure, man. Sounds good. Later.